Good morning, citizens, and how are you this wonderful day? I have been on a quest. As you know, I like to help new citizens into the verse and think you don't need to be spending a big amount in this game with an expensive ship when you can start making money with some of the more basic ships. So that's what I've been doing, and today is the first day of Alien Week. And so as I record this audio, I know there's a bunch of beautiful alien ships tempting you on the RSI website, but for those of you that can resist temptation and want to start earning with their in-game ships, I've been trying to find some of the best money makers in the verse, and yes, that means I have started to dabble in, let's say, the more gray areas of commerce. I've decided to try my hand and running cargo with some of the more illicit goods available in the verse. On paper, the margins are excellent, and I could not see why this can't be another valid way to increase your fortune. Then again, with great reward also comes great risk, and the upfront cost and the possibility of a life of crime. Is that worth the money to be made with smaller runs? I think so, but this is what I meant to find out. And I can say, without a doubt, the profit is there, but not without some issues. Currently in the game, the number one being for me, is that this cargo run was incredibly boring. So boring. If you saw my last video where I looked over the start of Alien Week, you may recall that I actually said that I edited this video already and I was not happy with the results. Most of this process is just waiting and selling small amounts of cargo at one location over and over again. And if you don't have other things to do while you're there, there wasn't much to show or really to talk about. So I have re-edited this whole video and we're going to try this a new way. So I'm presenting this in a different way, and I hope it comes across better for you, especially if you are considering this trade route. I have restarted and edited this video because I couldn't figure out a way to make the original one engaging or entertaining with the amount of standing around it took to complete this task. However, in the future, with the new cargo refractor coming out and the ability to possibly offload your goods automatically over time, this could indeed become a great way to make some money. Also, once you have landed and stored your ship, the risk is entirely gone. You just have to be willing to put in the time standing there selling. I would also say for very small runs for a new player with a ship that can only hold a few SU of cargo and you want to do some cargo runs, this could be a trade route to add to your repertoire. However, for larger ships, I would consider only small partial runs or to move on to other trading goods. So let's get into it. While I've been talking, I've been heading to the start of this route. First, arriving at Crusader, and then heading to the moon of Selin. After that, I choose the location of private property. This is actually an improvement over the old style drug running in the game. Before, locations of drug houses were fairly secret, and unless you had a mission marker, it required you to use orbital markers and landmarks and distances to find your way. It's so much easier now just to target and fly right to them. This does add a little bit of risk into the game though. If someone's looking to attack or do some piracy, they also can just target these locations and fly directly to them. Well landed, I first decided to try a bit of looting. Unlike other POIs in this game, this location does not have a personal local inventory, so if you want to loot, you need to wear some armor and a backpack, or you're going to have to hand bomb each item out by hand, which is what I end up doing. While looting, I actually did find a backpack, however, no chest armor, so I was unable to equip it, and I just carried out the few things that I had. I did kind of save time by, say, putting on a piece of armor, putting on a medical tool, and then picking something up by hand and carrying three things out at once. It still took a while. I only grabbed a few items. I did pick up some of the smaller items like food and a med gun and helmets and loaded them into the ship before checking out the kiosk. I found a total of 3 gray loot boxes in my visit into the single location in this one building, so that was actually quite good as far as finding loot. Afterwards, this is when the real work started. I started to do some shopping. Up until this point, there's been no risk. If I was to die, I would just have to claim my nomad again. I'd lose what I looted, sure, but the only other thing is I had the basic white undersuit and helmet on, so there's really nothing to lose. But as soon as I purchase this cargo, I'm going to want to get out of here as quickly as possible, because if another player shows up, I stand to lose everything, all my starting money. And as far as starting money is concerned, this endeavor was a grand total of 247,400 UEC, and my main focus was to buy SLAM. So I first bought 1,142 units at 132.25 SU each for a total of 151,024 UEC. This is quite a bit of money to be spending on my initial investment. If you don't have this money to risk, then I wouldn't suggest doing such a large run or even bigger than this. This drug has a high profit margin and can be sold relatively close by. After that, I could just wait around this location for it to restock and buy the rest of the slam, or I could buy something else. The only other thing really worth buying here is the neon. So I chose to get some neon, hoping it can make some good money also. I filled up the rest of my cargo space. It was 894 units at 76.07 each for another 68,003 UEC, leaving me afterwards with a total of 28,373 of my original money. When that's all done and said, I'm going to head off to sell. Very quickly from the moon surface, you're able to get to space. Once in there, you're going to jump to CRU L5. This is a close location where you can find the Bountiful Glen Station. In my research, this is where you can sell slam. I was hoping it would also buy neon. It does not. The big risks at this point are getting pulled out of your jump by pirates or police, or when you are flying in to land at the station being stopped and scanned while you're trying to land by the police. Also, something to keep in mind is when the game updates its cargo system, the Nomad that I'm using is very exposed and your cargo could quickly be offloaded by other players, so maybe not the best for doing some illicit good runs like this. Once landed, I made my way to the terminals and stored my ship. Now that the ship is stored, my cargo is 100% safe. I can proceed to sell. Even if I log out now, I can always log back in later and continue to sell again. I don't have to do it all at once. Everything is safe when your ship is stored. The only way you're going to lose this now, besides doing a patch update maybe, or doing a character reset, is if you claim your ship at another location, you will lose your cargo. From the terminals, I found the elevators to the Galleria. This is a small station, a lot smaller than a refinery one, so you really only have one choice to go from the hangars and it's to the Galleria. From the Galleria, I'm looking at the admin area. Most people trying to sell goods think they go to the admin, that's where they sell. That's not where you go. At first, I actually moved away from there, then decided I'm actually going to go there to show you you can't sell your goods there. They do show up on the screen, but the terminal won't buy illicit goods. What you need to do around the verse is find terminals that will buy these goods. Most of them are known as no questions asked terminals, and they tend to be hidden. In this particular location, you need to head off to the left of the elevators, up through this area. You will get to what looks like kind of a dead-end construction area, and in here is where you're going to find the terminal. This terminal will buy the slam. Unfortunately, like I said, this will not buy the neon, so I'm going to have to sell that at another location. This is also when the sheer boredom takes place. The amount of drugs the terminals buy at one time is really low. It makes sense that there'd be a smaller demand. However, the main reason I think is to avoid making this drug trade too profitable by slowing it down, so most players are not even going to bother spending the time selling. But with very small cargo runs, you can make a bit of quick money. Once I have sold my initial amount, I need to wait for the terminal to reset. I just stood near the kiosk, checking every so often. The time between selling and waiting for it to be able to have the demand come back was about 10 to 15 minutes each time. The amount I could sell each time ranged anywhere usually between 38 and 78. With one single time, it was buying a whopping 113 units at one time. The price also varied by a small amount each time, from a high of 155.8 to a low of 154.36, although that's really only a difference of about 1.25 SEUs. In total, to sell all the slam took me quite a bit of time. I was happy that I had looted some food and water because I got quite hungry doing this. Also, as you'll notice, I may now be a criminal, but I'm not a monster. Throw out your trash, people. Don't just leave things on the ground, dropping it for someone else to pick up. Your mom doesn't play this game. Put your stuff away. In total, it took 17 different attempts and about 2 hours and 10 minutes for me to sell the slam. Looking at my earnings, I was back up to 205,191 UEC. So with the cost of 151,024, this drug I made 25,794 profit, which was pretty good. Next I'm off to sell the neon. Now, I knew where I could sell it, and I'm going to have to travel. By traveling, I'm putting myself at risk, taking my ship out of storage, this time heading to Grim Hex, and this is where there's no greater hive of scum and villainy in the verse. Well, until Pyro, that is, but that's where we're going to go. We're going to go to Grim Hex, we're going to sell the neon. After requesting a landing, I flew into the hangar, landed and stored my ship. Once again, now my cargo is safe. I hear the elevators may be working at this location now, but not wanting to take a chance, I reset my spawn at the medical facility here, although I could also EVA back to my ship if needed. Unlike any other place, here at Grim Hex, the local establishment has no qualms whatsoever about buying the goods, so I headed right to the admin center and began selling. Like before, I had to sell in small batches. However, this time the refresh rate was much quicker, and the time it took to sell my remaining drugs was only about 30 minutes. After that was all said and done, the Neon, I made another 79,138 UEC, meaning 11,135 on selling Neon. That gave me a grand total profit on this run of 36,929. One thing I'd like to also add is that the time between being able to sell at this kiosk was much faster than it was at the other one. It was anywhere between maybe 3 and 6 minutes before I was able to sell again. It seemed a lot faster to me. I wasn't expecting to be quite that fast, but it was quite a nice thing to find out. Bear in mind, if you're not willing to spend the initial amount to risk on this run, your profit may vary. One thing I also wish I'd thought of was to save a small amount of Slam to bring to this location. I'm unsure if Grimhex will buy Slam. However, if they do, this could speed things up quite a bit. You could sell both types at a single location. So you could sell some Slam, you'd sell the maximum you could, sell the Neon, and then when it resets, it would be buying both of them again, and it would cut down the time. So if that's possible, this is potentially a better location to sell at, although it is farther to travel and a little more dangerous to get to. So let me know in the comments below if that's possible at Grimhex, if you can sell the Slam and Neon at the same location. Also, if you have a smuggling route you enjoy, or if you know a faster location to sell, please let me know, and I may test them out in a future video. Now, if you don't currently have the money up front, or don't have a ship that's even as large as the Nomad, you can still try this route out. After this, I did take an Aurora out with this much smaller cargo space. For an initial cost of 38,035 UEC, I got a full load of 3 SU of Slam and was able to sell that in about half an hour at CRUL5 for a profit of 8,493 UEC. Not a great profit, but if you want to do some cargo running, it's probably one of the better profitable routes for something as small as an Aurora. So that's it, my first real foray into the drug trade in the verse. Personally, I prefer mining and exploring, and this required a lot of waiting around. However, I'll certainly be revisiting this again in the future, especially when cargo is changed. I'll be looking into the other seedy jobs and the types of money to be had in this game. Until then, I hope to see you all in the verse. Happy flying and good luck trading, citizens. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.